Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this random live stream Six Fig Stock Trader here on YouTube. Let's get rid of all this garbage that is up on the screen. So, with that said, let's do another high level look at CKB right now. We dropped the video earlier, and we are still left with somewhat of this ascending triangle. So, I do think that we will reach this point up here, this 0.028 soon. And soon is within the next few weeks to month or so. But then again, we have seen price climb very fast with CKB in previous price action. So I do think that it is good to see sustainable climb up to these levels, but let's go ahead and look at this thing right now. So, I think what we're going to do is, I like this 4-hour chart. So we can see a clear line in the sand here, horizontally, and then we can see this little baby ascending triangle that is forming. Now, it's kind of interesting to see this pattern form right here, but I do think this is going to be the catalyst that will help push price action, at least on this 4-hour chart, right up to this 0.015-ish region. It wasn't that long ago that we were playing around in it. So, after that, the sky's the limit as far as the 4-hour chart is concerned. The 4-hour chart, we are trading above the cloud, which is a very good sign. And once we see this 50 moving average creep a little bit more to the upside, we will see price action rapidly move upwards. So let's just kind of wait and see what's going to happen. I thought it'd be kind of fun just to go randomly live like this. I've been doing this now on and off for, I don't know, a little while, but it is always fun just to hop on and just kind of let loose. So with that said, let's just go ahead and throw up some time sequence and see if we can uncover anything right in this area. And I really am kind of leaning towards this little spike in price here. Bear with me 1 second. And let's just look at some of these price points here. Definitely close. I would say that, man, it's tough when you start doing this because you actually end up kind of cherry picking your time sequence, but we don't really see any time sequence on a grand scale hitting the end of this ascending triangle. So let's try this once. So here we could kind of argue that this swing high here to the immediate swing low, we have uncovered time sequence within this ascending triangle. Now we can see that this marked kind of the bottom here. This was a pivot point here. This was a pivot point here. Same with this was a pivot point here. So October 5th, which is tomorrow, let's really dial this in, folks. As you know me, I like to be as accurate as possible. So we're trying to get a time frame as to when we might see this thing start to move. Okay, so we are getting a reading of October 5th around 3 a.m. tonight. So I would say anywhere from now till 3 a.m. Central Time, that is. So you have to figure that out in whatever time zone you're in. Check it out. But I do think that this may, in fact, mark something significant in price action, whether it's to move back down to the downside or upside. I do think that at this point, this will be a significant point in time for CKB to make its next move. I did put out a tweet earlier that CKB is squeezing, and it is squeezing. And we are seeing these highs remain constant, and we are seeing these lows trend upwards. So eventually, folks, what's going to happen is these lows keep getting higher until they translate into highs. So that is kind of what we are looking for right now. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens from now to uh, 3 a.m. Central Time, give or take an hour, because we are on the hour chart. So we will wake up in the morning tomorrow and hopefully see CKB mooning. Now, let's just look at this here. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff, and I'm going to try to figure out the channel that this thing is trading in. And I mean, by channel, I mean pitchfork. So let's just go with the shift pitchfork here. And you can see right away how CKB is pressing right up against this support level here. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but we are still well within the support range with CKB right now. Let's look at this on a 12-hour chart here, folks. And interestingly enough, you can kind of see that that this support range may be, in fact, slivering price action off up here. If we can get above this little median line here and play around in the resistance arena within CKB, we might actually see somewhat of an ascending triangle form up here, depending on how fast we can get to this area up here if price action is bullish. Now, I also said in previous videos that we kind of have this inverse head and shoulders that we are working with too. So this could be a great possibility for CKB to move higher. So with that said, folks, I think we're sitting good with CKB as long as Bitcoin plays around here. And let's see here. I'm looking at the comments for the first time right now. So looks like Crypto Airborne is in the house. I went live, dude. I wasn't sure if you were up, so I just kind of went live. It was a spur of the moment thing. I was going to sit down at my computer and take care of some other things, and I thought, what the hell? Might as well go live for the people, right? So let's look into some other crypto as well. One thing I do want to take a peek at, though, is the total market cap. Now, this is always interesting to kind of see what is going on with the total crypto market cap. Right away, folks, I'm picking up on a few things when I'm looking at this. Is the possibility of a Gartley pattern, but furthermore, we may have somewhat of, well, I hate to kind of say that this is an ascending triangle, but because it's really not. But we can see these lows again are getting lower or higher, so that is great to see. And we can see this total crypto market cap back in May, which propelled Bitcoin to 65,000 in April and May. It's kind of interesting to me to see Bitcoin now at 50,000 or 49,000, and we are still about, I don't know, 200 billion less of a fluid in the crypto market. So this is going to be an interesting setup with this total crypto market cap. Let's look at this on a daily, and then I want to look at this on a weekly chart as well. So here's something that you don't see too often, and that's when, especially on the daily chart, and that's when crypto or any kind of assets move into the cloud. Usually, and we're not out of the cloud yet, but usually you don't see these things rebound out of the cloud like this. So, I mean, with that said, I'm just kind of looking at this for the first time here, and I'm going to throw down a couple different scenarios for you guys. You know me, I like to talk the bearish and bullish side of things. And so, bear with me 1 second. So what we are going to do here is we will throw up a little Gartley pattern and just do some speculating, right? Because everybody likes to speculate on where crypto market caps are going, where prices are going, things like that. So for this example, I think it would be most logical for me to use this point down here as my X point, this point down here as my A point. Somewhere in here will be my B point. This will be my C point. And this is the bearish scenario first, folks, okay? So the D point is somewhere down here. So let's measure this out first and see if this even qualifies for Gartley. So with that said, we'll go ahead and measure from X. And this is exactly what I want to see. I want to see price action come down and kiss this 61.8 level, but not go any lower than this 78.6. So this right here is primo, exactly what I like to see. Now to the upside, I can already tell you that this will be past a 786. So this will be our C point. And theoretically, C cannot go any higher than A. So we can tell just by kind of holding my mouse here that point A is higher. But for shits and giggles, we will just go ahead and I will show you that our little area that this price action could travel to is right about in here somewhere. Now, this is very important because right now, this is playing exactly into some sort of a bearish Gartley scenario, but we'll go over a bullish scenario as well too. So stick with me. So with that said, if we go ahead and measure point B to A, we are looking for the 127. And so what I'm seeing here is the worst of the worst. We will see a reduction from, what are we at right now? $2.16 trillion, possibly down to $723 billion market cap. So that is the area that we might expect price to really bounce down to when things get nasty. And I'm not saying, folks, that things are going to get nasty right now, but it's something that everybody should really kind of be aware of. And if we go ahead and look at this, what we're going to do here is run this same exact scenario back here before we get to this. Actually, yeah, let's run that right in here. So for this exercise, we will run Gartley on the 2017 spike up that we had. And this was kind of the second little run up we had, just like what's happening right now. So for this little part of the exercise, I think I'm going to measure from this point right here. I think this would be a solid x-axis point. So let's just look at this. And then we're going to try to predict where the 127 might have been, if it even works. So with that said, we're going to see if the 127 kind of shows up right around this zone here. So let's go ahead and measure this. So, I mean, it's tough to really plant X, I guess, with this run up here. I guess one could argue that X is right here. Maybe X was down here. Let's just pretend that X was down here. It doesn't really shift the goalpost much. With that said, we can see that price action almost made it up to the 61.8. This would pretty much disqualify a Gartley pattern, but this is crypto, so it will not stick to these patterns 100% of the time. What I'm going to go ahead and do is measure from what would be point B up to A, and I'm almost curious to see if this would be the 127 arena down here. So let's just go ahead and do that quick. And so we measure up to this wick here, so you guys can see I'm not bullshitting you. And then I really want to get this dialed in for you guys. So I'm measuring off this wick down right here, and it looks like we are right on it. And let's take a peek at this. And so we can see that this was not 100% accurate, but it was damn close. We did ricochet off this 200 moving average. So, I mean, with that said, you can kind of see how this tool can predict somewhat of an area that the price could land in. So when I'm telling you guys that the price could land, excuse me, in this $723 billion market, total crypto market cap, it's very possible that it could be 723 billion, 800 billion. It could be 650 billion. We don't know until we get there, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting to see. Now let's go ahead and kind of speculate on a potential bullish approach. So right now, if we wanted this thing to go bullish, we would basically have to kind of take all those measurements that we just took, but in reverse. And we only have, half the measurements that we need. So with that said, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And so we would be looking for C to either be right here, somewhere down here, and then D would be predicted somewhere up here. Excuse me, folks. So with that said, one thing that we do know is that B is right here. So let's go ahead and kind of mess with this, right? So we can go. We could probably argue that at this point in time, with this incomplete information, that if we do see the market go bullish, we might see another, well, it'd be tough to tell. We might see another $500 to $700 billion get injected into the crypto market, which would put us at right around 2.79 to 3 trillion. That would be my guess, would be another good top. And keep in mind, folks, 65,000 Bitcoin was at about 2.58. So if we hit 2.79 or even 300 billion, we might see a 70 to 75 to $80,000 Bitcoin or higher if we run up through some of these extensions in this Fibonacci extension here. So with that said, I mean, total crypto market cap, I mean, it's looking, we still need more data though for I guess the bearish Gartley pattern. And but with that said, let's look at some other cryptos. I'm going to turn my attention to the chat. I'm going to make this short and sweet tonight. Let's see here. So I'm looking at some of the chat. It's like Crypto Airborne is asking, 6fig, does this chart include Bitcoin? Yes, it does. Crypto TA says, primo baby. Thanks, Crypto TA, for being here. Might need you to wander on over to Crypto Airborne's house and help him with his rash. I'm trying to look through these comments, guys, so bear with me. Marcos, man. Tell you what, if you ever need some pointers, I'd be happy to just talk to you about stuff anytime. Let's see here. So somebody, Sunshine Daydreams, is asking, what does the fib time chart show? That's a great question. Really it is. So let's pull that up. Let's get into this. So we have a super high peak here, and this is going to be interesting because we have 3 different points of interest to choose from. Typically when you're doing time sequence on a weekly chart, we're going to go from the highest swing high to the lowest swing low. Like that's most immediate. So from here to here. And interestingly enough, I mean, this is kind of jaded to a point, but we are seeing a time sequence the week of October 4th. But what I would be more interested to see is that we get a double confirmation at this point off one of these other two levels. So let's go ahead and move the goalposts. And so, I mean, this is kind of interesting too. This time sequence really kind of predicts liftoff. This one kind of predicts a pivot point. Same with this. This predicts a pivot point. So I would say that, within the last week to this week, there is definitely something going on. The daily chart will help us with this a little bit more. And let's just kind of, okay. So the most important thing to do when looking at time sequence is to kind of look at things in hindsight on the daily chart. This was kind of warning us, hey, there is a pivot point. We had a long candle up to this point, reversed. Something similar here is warning us with the reversal is coming up. Here it was warning us that a drop-off was about to happen. Same with this point here, a reversal. Now, this point really didn't do much, but getting back to Crypto Airborne's comment on Elliott wave theory, bear with me 1 second. To me, this could be an impulse wave right here. And then you can definitely see how this ABC'd out, possibly ABCDE'd out on a smaller time frame, but you could kind of argue that was the course of action for this little run up here. Where are we right now? Nobody knows, but time sequence tomorrow. So it'll be interesting. We kind of have a bull flagpole. We're squeezing a little bit, trading sideways. So it's going to be interesting about the, what's going to happen from here. Looking at some more comments here. Okay. Looks like what chart is the best to do time sequence on? For me, I like the 4-hour, 12-hour, the daily, even the 1-hour chart if you're playing the short game. Moist Taco, I like that. Should I sell my Shiba or hold? I'm up 500. Well, let's look at Sheeb. Let's look at Sheeb. Why the hell not? We haven't looked at Sheeb in some time. And you know what? Speaking of Sheeb, I was half tempted to throw down like $10 on Sheeb and just forget about it. So bear with me 1 second here. I'm just trying to find Sheeb. One thing I know is that people in the crypto world love their little meme coins. So we can see that just based off this chart, Sheeb, I'm not sure when TradingView picked this up. So we'll get into this. Currently, I'm looking at Sheeb on the 1-hour chart. I'm definitely seeing some sort of Elliott wave theory, possibly to the upside. This chart is so messed up. What the hell is this? I mean, man, I got to find a different chart. This chart's whack. So bear with me, folks. Shiba Inu. Let's go with this. Maybe it's just my chart. Do we get more data on this? We get a little bit more data on this chart here. Okay. Excellent. This is exactly what I was looking for. So let's look at this on the 4-hour chart. Shiba is extremely overbought right now. The last time we reached these levels was back in May of 21 when we had this huge run up. So, if you're asking me if you should make or if you're asking me if you should sell SHIB, I mean, I guess my response is, is there a different project that would be less volatile that you might be able to invest in? The other thing is, $500 is $500. I mean, I don't know what is a lot of money to you, so you might want to just take that into consideration. SHIB is really on this kind of weird pattern where it just fluctuates up and down, but I want to look at this on a daily chart. And currently right now, SHIB is quite a ways from the cloud, but we do have some full body candles to the upside. I want to just go ahead and just throw up a little Fibonacci here and just kind of see where this thing is at. So we are seeing price tags bouncing off this 382. So if you can get SHIB above this 382 level, I do think that there would be a solid chance at seeing this maybe run up to this 50% level. I'm not going to try to pronounce this dollar amount, but the last four digits are 1781. So, I mean, you may want to take some profits, maybe leave some in there. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, so I'd hate to give you bad advice. But this chart and SHIB, it's just really kind of chaotic, and I'll definitely probably stay away from this personally. But I mean, shit, we've seen stranger things happen with Dogecoin mooning. So what else do we got? SHIB is not a project as far as I know. I might have said that it was. Let's see here. Moist coin. Okay, come up with it and I'll invest. I like that. Tuna coin. I'm in deep. Sunshine daydreams. Are you into SHIB? Deep or what? Let's look. Anybody else got any TA? Any other coins that they are holding? Let's see here. Okay. So I did see somebody mention BTT. And so we'll look at BTT, and if Packable was in here, he'd be all over this. So the last time we ran BTT, Jesus. So this is BTT against Bitcoin. I wish they had this against the US dollar. Do they have this against the US dollar? There we go. That's what I like to see. So BitTorrent, folks, I mean, this little run up here, and then we have this little consolidation going. I mean, it's hard to argue right now with the space and amount of time that's passed through that this could be some sort of bull flagpole with a pennant forming. It entirely could be. I want to look at this thing on a weekly chart, though, first before we get into this. So currently we have no 200 moving average even available to us, but we can see that price action is bouncing off this 50 moving average, and it almost looks like the current Bitcoin price action as well. So on the weekly chart, this is not good for BTT because we have passed through this cloud, and I am seeing somewhat of a symmetrical triangle kind of forming. On the daily chart, we are now underneath the cloud, and price action is really in this state where it could just get knocked down by this 50 moving average or the cloud. You can see over the past few days, it's tried to make entry into the cloud. And right now would be the most optimal time for BTT to make a bid upwards. I was just kind of reducing this chart to a 1 hour chart just to kind of see what this looked like here. But this just looks like a giant, squiggly lines. So, but I do think that BTT, if it can get its act together, This little point will be the easiest for BTT to pass through and get back on top of the cloud on the daily chart. And that's going to be very important for BTT price action. Currently, it almost looks like there may even be some sort of Fibonacci channel or something like that going on here. I mean, you could almost argue this coming through here. But I mean, with that said, BTT might just be kind of hanging outside of this channel right now. I do know that the last time we were looking into this, there was a very small falling wedge. And so usually we will see a bounce occur after that happens. But, since this thing has really fallen out of favor with this Fibonacci channel here, I would like to see price action hop back up into this channel. And this area might be a good time to do that. So BTT is hit or miss right now. And I do think that, let's just see. Oof, man. Bear with me one second, guys. I mean, man, BTT came down and hit the 786 common reversal price tag or Fibonacci retracement level for price action to reverse. So there's a little hope. We're going to have to keep our eyes on this one. I'm going back to the chats here. Let's see here. So I'm getting some questions here on the cloud. So basically the Ichimoku cloud, let me go through this with you guys here. So the way the Ichimoku cloud works is it's a Japanese trading form. It's pretty prosperous. And the way it works is we have conversion lines and baselines. And so what we want to see is, for me, what I do is I label my baselines blue and I'll label the conversion lines red. And so ideally what we want to see is, when we are trading down around the cloud, we want to see the conversion line cross up and over the baseline. And usually that's a good indicator that things will get bullish. And it's always good to be trading on top of the cloud with solid patterns, bullish patterns. I'll try to pull up an example on an easier chart here in a few seconds. So Marco says, how can I display the clouds in trading view? Let's go over that right now. So I'm going to get rid of this. All right. So this is my standard chart. I've got my 50 moving average. I don't use exponential moving averages. I don't use them at all. I use the 50 moving average and 200, and there's really no right or wrong. It's whatever suits you the best. To get to Ichimoku cloud, you can just go to indicators, and you can I have this favorited, but I do think that this would be in the public library. So let's see here. You can see Ichimoku cloud. You just type in Ichimoku and trying to figure out where this one is. So let's just see here. That's interesting. Maybe it's not in the public library. Maybe I built this out, or maybe it's built in. Let's look at this. Okay, so just try to find the Ichimoku cloud, and this is what pops up, is all this stuff here. And now you're going to have to fine tune this to exactly the way you want it. So you'll see the Ichimoku cloud pop up on your screen. Click it, come up here, go to settings, go to inputs. You can change some of these, but I just leave these as they are. Now, here's the one thing I don't use with Ichimoku cloud, and that's the lagging span. I'm not going to get into why. but that is just one thing. I got too many lines on my charts. I don't want to see it. I don't want anything to do with it at all. I'll come down, make my conversion line red, and then I will fatten this line up as well. Same with the baseline. I convert my baseline to blue just because base, blue, it just kind of goes together. But you can have these set up exactly how you want. Packable, you just missed out on BitTorrent, bro. But let's see here. Bear with me 1 second here. And I will turn up my opacity as well, just so I can kind of clearly see what is going on. There we go. And then after that's all said and done, I will click OK. And then I'll click on the cloud again, and I will visibility. Let's see here. Bear with me 1 second here. I will go over to visual order and send it all the way to the back. So it looks like it's in the back already. So that way all these other indicators kind of plop down on top of it. So in short, that's how you get the Ichimoku cloud set up. Again, this is just how I have mine set up. I trade with the conversion line red. So Packable, what's up, brother? Glad to see you here. You guys got any other crypto that you want me to check out? Let's see here. I'm just kind of reading through these comments. Ichimoku Cloud, I do think that is a free feature because the only thing I pay for on TradingView is extra indicators, and I love to hate TradingView because I don't know. I feel like they should unlock more indicators, but more is not necessarily a better. StormX, okay. I see StormX, STMX. Let's look at this one. Okay, we looked at StormX. I don't know when, but this is the last TA that I had up. This must have been Crypto Airborne. Do you remember the last time we looked at StormX? StormX was StormX. Okay, so it looks like it's still obeying this Fibonacci channel, and this is kind of what I'm hoping happens with BitTorrent, is that we see a little dip and then hop back up into this channel. One thing that I'm just kind of looking at this quick here. I'm going to go ahead and reset the chart. So we're looking at this on a daily, and we can see that the 50 and 200 are right next to each other. And so this would be a great opportunity for StormX to really rip through this part of the Ichimoku cloud, primarily because it would be the easiest point for it to. So I do think that right now we may be seeing STMX gear up for a little bid at this 200 moving average at least. So let's look at this. And we can kind of see, we're going to go down to a 1 hour chart here. I'm going to get this dialed in. So we can kind of see here that price action shot up onto the support band, but there was even too much resistance that we fell underneath it. Now we are seeing price action kind of fight with this lower band here. So with that said, I really want to break out some time sequence, of course, and then we will also break out, bear with me 1 second, some regular old Fibonacci. I thought I had maybe a little glimpse of a Gartley pattern, but we didn't. So something mega happened back here in September with StormX. So anybody know in the comments what exactly happened there? So we're going to measure this swing high to this swing low. And maybe we'll measure to this swing low here. And there we are, right about there. And what I'm looking for here, folks, is price action, reaction in hindsight. So, we measure this swing high to this swing low. I'm trying to get this perfect, but there we go. Right here, we can see that price came up, reversed a little bit. This, I'm not sure what that was telling us, but right here, we can see that price action squeezed and then fell off. This was kind of off. I'm not the most confident in this placement. So let's move this goalpost and see what else this tells us. Getting some double confirmations here. Going to go off this little high here to this low because this was pretty wild. Man, this StormX has been all over the place lately. So what I'm doing is just trying to confirm things in hindsight. This looks good. We've got a sell-off here, clear reversal here, and it looks like you can kind of see how this spinning top was a pivot in momentum, just barely to the downside. So whether or not StormX goes any higher at this point, I do think that we may be seeing some sort of Elliott wave theory on a grander scale, especially if the market really ticks up. We may be seeing something like this happen. On the 1 hour chart, we definitely need StormX to make it through this cloud. But man, this is a tough read right now. Let's look at this again. Man, it's really fighting with this Fibonacci channel, trying to get above it. So I do think that once we do finally get above it, there might be some clear upside to maybe revisit at least this 4-cent level. We might see this prolong and do what I like to call Fibonacci sliver. So bear with me 1 second. I wouldn't be surprised to see price action, the worst case scenario, kind of do one of these and really fill this ascending triangle out into November and then move up. This is the best possible scenario for StormX right now. I can assure you that much. So with that said, I mean, it might just be a game of ups and downs for the most part with StormX, especially since it looks like it just hammered on this 382 or this 23.6 for about 3 or 4 days and just could not beat it. So it might just need a little bit more time, but on a grander scale, I would like to see StormX do that. Let's move on to something else. So thank you, Marcos, for the tip, man. I appreciate that. You don't have to do that. More than happy to help people out. So let's see here. I'm just kind of trying to play catch up with the comments. So let's go and look at Bitcoin right now. I think we got about 20 people watching. And so here is Bitcoin. And one thing I do hate about TradingView is every time I go to switch charts, it will mess with all my trend lines. I freaking hate that. It drives me nuts. So with Bitcoin, folks, I know I had some people upset with me in the earlier videos, telling me, how could I talk negatively about Bitcoin when the market's going so good right now? Well, I mean, the market's really not going so good right now. If we think about it, we are still in this downtrend. I mean, until we come up and break this 65,000 level, this is a possibility. And this is one of the patterns that I saw earlier when I was kind of messing around with some Gartley theory. And we can see this, this little pattern show up here. And so this is where I do think that if the market kind of sheds and goes bearish, that we will see price action return down to this $20,000 level. I'm not saying soon, but over a course of time. We can kind of measure this out. So if we go from, this is A, down to X, and what we're looking for here, folks, is the 786, 61.8. So this is a great spot. This is the target zone that Bitcoin can visit to break out of this Gartley pattern. We will need to see price action rise above 64,800. So with that said, Bitcoin does have a chance at shattering this bearish little pattern that is forming. And we can see that if we measure from X up to A in a retracement, we can definitely see how price action has come down, nipped the 61.8. It could go as low as the 78.6, but it didn't. So right now, this was the zone that we needed to see Bitcoin retrace to off this all-time high, which it did. And then to calculate where D might be, we simply measure off this point up to A. And what we're looking for is this 127. So a $19,000, $20,000 Bitcoin. So you can kind of see where I'm going at with that right now. Right now, the only thing that, the most important thing in the world right now is that Crypto Airborne is taking care of his rash properly. That's it. And Crypto TA is here to help him with that. So, when it comes to Bitcoin, let's just draw up a little bit more, because I do like this trend line that exists. And it is definitely evident that we are rubbing elbows with this. So let's go ahead and do this quick. I'm just watching the comments here. Crypto Airborne and Crypto TA are not liking me right now, one bit. So right now we need Bitcoin to really, we need some vertical movement, some vertical climbing up through these ranks of crypto Fibonacci bands here. Obviously, I do think that if we see another $65,000 Bitcoin or somewhere in there, we are going to need to see price action hold that ground before we move higher. So somebody's asking in the comments, how long will this take? Well, here's a scenario for everybody. So this is kind of like that Fibonacci sliver that I've mentioned before. And so we might just kind of see price action do one of these, where if this plays out, there is no question in my mind, we will at least see a $75,000 Bitcoin minimum. We have to consider that Bitcoin could be losing market dominance as this goes up. But this is what could be playing out right now. And this wouldn't make, this might make sense to see some sort of Elliott wave theory to the upside, something like that. We may be in the midst of seeing kind of like something like this. Just a little bit of price action through Elliott wave theory. This is what I would actually love to see, something that is predictable. But, if you kind of see where I'm going with this, we inadvertently kind of form an ending diagonal with this, if something like this kind of showed up on the chart. So that would not be good. I would love to see a retest of 65,000, but we may need to see more of an ascending triangle to go upwards. So, it's really hard to tell right now. I'll admit I'm still leaning a little bit bearish. I do think that the market is blinded by greed and all of that. So, I'm right up there with everybody else. I don't know. Crypto TA says all the laser eyes on Twitter won't let price drop lower before hitting 100K, man. I hope so. I hope you're right. Crypto Airborne says he's got his rash cream. Ciprofloxacin ready. Okay. That must be the heavy medicated stuff. Bitcoin ETF incoming, going to defy all the odds. And man, the Bitcoin ETF is the one thing about ETFs is I love trading ETFs simply because they move at 2 or 3 times the market, the good ones. But ETFs, are going to be separate from the crypto space. So all that money is going to be stored on Wall Street. And, I think if Wall Street wants to play without any regulations, they'll just come and trade in the crypto market space. But it's going to be interesting to see, any correlations that happen with Bitcoin to an ETF. I'm feeling a black swan or too soon. I'm not trying to be scary up here, the scary bear or anything like that. But, RSI, I'm looking at it. There's still plenty of room to move upwards if we want to retest this all-time high. On top of that, you can see how Bitcoin is really avoiding this cloud. And like I was saying before, you don't want to see your price action get stuck into this cloud. That is not good. And we did see this happen on the daily chart. So we need another day worth of price action to fully climb out of this cloud. And I want to see a green candle above this cloud on the daily. That is huge. You can see that when we travel through the cloud, bad things typically happen. And the fact that we traveled through the clouds on corrective waves with a symmetrical triangle and didn't fall lower, like this is pure whale manipulation shit right here, in my own opinion. Because what we can see here is, once we shed this ending diagonal here, we traveled through the cloud. Price action tried and tried to escape the cloud. But once you're in the cloud, it's hard to get out of it. And you can see the results of what happened. Where do you set the base on that trend line? So are you just kind of looking at that Fibonacci channel, Marcos, that I had up? Was it this one? So where I do it is I will try to find, there's really, for when you're talking about measuring bases and stuff like that for trend lines, this is what I do. I try to find some super swing low point like this, and then I might try to find, let's just say we're trying to measure this area up here, and let's say none of this existed. I will try to find kind of a bounce point like this. And so I would kind of measure, from here to here, and then I would just bring this either back or out slightly. And the goal is for this third point, you kind of want it right in the middle if you can. And we can see how price action really played within this Fibonacci channel quite nicely. And this will be recorded, Marcos, too, and just check my live stream if you want to revisit this. But you can see how price action came right up to this level here, bounced down to maybe the 61.8 here, and then back up. And it just played within these channels very nicely. So once we saw this price break down and break this channel, the ecosystem has changed, and we really need to play the waiting game before we draw up another channel. So once we see this bounce here, then I might move this channel out like this, and I may end up moving this channel in like this, and I would move this up to probably the all-time high. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And what do we get? Well, we can see that in hindsight, price action has played right in with this 23.6 and the 382 Fibonacci extension levels. We have fallen through. Currently, Bitcoin is trying to get above the 23.6. So this is going to be a rejection point here. But we may in fact be seeing this channel kind of fill out. I know I was kind of talking about this ascending triangle just a second ago, but it wouldn't surprise me if we saw something like this into December. More sideways trading or something like this. And you'd be surprised that just drawing little trend lines like this really goes a long ways. I mean, it really does. In fact, we could almost make the argument that you can kind of see a trend line that is established here. So just drawing trend lines and getting creative does go a long way. But let's throw out some Fibonacci time sequence. And what I'd be looking for is some sort of time sequence to appear here when measuring from a high, swing high, like right here down to here. So let's get this going. So let's see what we got. And sure enough, in hindsight, what we can see, pivot point here, a reversal point here, it would lead me to believe that there might be something coming on November 15th. Now, a lot of times you will not see these ascending triangles play all the way out to the end and then go up. You will see these things leave these channels prematurely. So, if we're looking at a channel like this, the November 15th would make sense. Or I'd expect to see price action move up before that, maybe reverse once the 15th hits. So let's see, XRP. Don't even get me started on XRP. Okay. Up in Coinbase jail. Let's look at XRP. You guys have got me wondering right now what's going on with this. XRP. Okay. XRP is squeezing in a symmetrical triangle right now. I can't tell you the last time I looked at XRP. Holy cow. I've been kind of avoiding it with this whole SEC thing that's been going on. But let's look at this. And you can kind of see that XRP has this symmetrical triangle kind of going for it right now. So, I mean, some huge moves up. What is this, back in February of 17? Holy shit. Well, let's look at this here. More modern day price action. What kind of chart am I on here? Bear with me. Let's go to like a 4-hour chart. I'm looking at the comments section here, and people are getting buck ass wild again. So, looks like with XRP, I would assume this to leave this squeeze pattern. We are only going to see price get tighter and tighter. If you see XRP trading lower than 86 cents from now until November 12th, you'll know that this is off the table. If it's higher than $1.40, you'll know that this squeeze is off the table and you're headed in one of those two directions, up or down. Let's look at this. Now, this is interesting to me because right here, I'm seeing like the Gartley pattern just in my mind. I'm seeing that this could be a 61.8 retracement. I'm seeing that this could be an extension right around the 61.8. I'm seeing this as X down here. So let's mark this up quick. And we have not talked VGX, but I do think that is a good idea to talk it because that is one of my favorite coins. And I know a lot of people don't believe me when I say that just because I've been so bearish on it. But it is what it is. I'm not here to bullshit anybody. So if we are looking for some sort of reversal point in XRP. I know XRP does have a lot going for it, and you have to keep in mind that this pattern has been setting up since December of 20. So the ecosystem with XRP could have changed given the most recent news. But if we see the market take a downturn, you're probably wondering, how far is XRP going to fall? Well, we saw XRP in the previous runs. Let's see, what did this get to? So we saw XRP back in the bull run of 17 hit $3.34. And then we saw it go all the way down to 11 cents. My goodness. So when you start seeing, capital wiped away like that, I have a feeling that we will see, another price point, probably somewhere down in here, maybe the 25 cents, but we won't know until we know. So let's go ahead and break this down. I'm going to get rid of this chart and let's throw up some extensions. And before I get started, we are looking to see if this falls in the 61.8 to 86.2 or 78.6. My goodness, it's getting late. So we can see that this little section here came up, hit this 61.8 level. That's what I'm talking about. See, I can just read this stuff without even doing this Fibonacci. And then what we are looking for here is that this is probably going to be a 786 retracement, just based off what I'm seeing here. Let's go ahead and measure this. And we can see 786. And so this is interesting because price had authority to violate everything from the 61.8 down to the 786. And it did so quite nicely. A little bit of drippage on the bottom. That's not a big deal. Now to figure out where D is. Now this is going to be important. We need to measure from this point up to A. I'm going to swing this over this way. And oh boy. So interestingly enough, if this thing retraces again, you're looking at about 11 cents. And how about that? Almost dead nuts as what happened before. So, man, I know that we're not seeing as high of highs this go around as we saw back in 2017. So that might actually happen. If you see XRP hanging around 11 cents, I can tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw like $500 at that thing. But for now, let's just try to establish which way XRP may indeed go if we are bullish. And there is several different points here that we can measure. And I'm concerned mainly about these points here and these points here. So it does appear that we have two possible points of measurement with this. So with that said, let's go ahead and I'm torn. Do I start my X point here? Do I start my X point here? Sunshine Daydreams 5,000 LOL. Don't be shy. Oh man. Yeah, I hear you. I probably will put 5,000 down if it gets down to 11 cents, to be honest with you. Not trading advice, by the way. So one thing that I'm looking for here is, again, this 61.8 level. So let's get this established. I'm going to start off with this point down to this point. So this is going to look something like this time. And we are trying to figure out where D could possibly be up here. So with that said, let's try to figure this out quick. We'll measure down to A. And right now, this is perfect, folks. This is exactly, bear with me 1 second, exactly what I want to see. We have price action coming right up to the 61.8, not going higher than the 786. Folks, this is golden. And what I want to see here for this shoulder is a, the 61.8 786 pattern as well. So let's go ahead and measure a retracement. And so this is within the rules of a Gartley. And so what we can do now is go ahead and measure this up here. So with that said, the 127 at this point, I do think that if XRP goes bullish, we are going to see this return right around to the $1.66 level. And that's interesting that this number shows up here. I want to see if this is a 61.8 level on a grand scale of things. So let's look at this at a super high level. I'm going to measure from here to here, and I'm just kind of noticing that if this comes up to this 127 level, folks, this is killer. What do we got? Somewhat of a golden, or somewhat of a cup and handle. So let's look at this here quick. Bear with me 1 second. And okay, so it looks like the 50% line is kind of flirting with that. Let's bring this down here. That makes any much of a difference. Yeah. So yeah, I do think that the $1.66 level will be in order for XRP. If it goes up higher, we are going to need to stick that. So Celer, who's talking Celer? This is probably Crypto TA. No. See, we got 17 people in the chat. So how much we got in here? 16 now. People are dropping off. Let's see here. Yeah, Joe Torres. So if you're interested in Celer Network, I would highly recommend checking out Crypto TA. He was in here commenting earlier. When it comes to Celer, he has his pulse on Celer. I mean, I can go over it, but he definitely knows this thing like the back of his hand. And Celer is kind of in this weird. I mean, look at this price action on Celer, folks. So Celer right now did experience this mega run up, which was awesome to see. And I do know Crypto TA was covering this, and I will just try to kind of cover this the best I can as far as a recap is concerned, because just kind of look at this here quick. Celer, I mean, if we can get another bounce on Celer, this would be a great little cup and handle that might form. But other than that, you can definitely see the possibility. This isn't Celer. This is Celo. Celer. What is Celer? Thank you. There it is. Celer. Yeah, Crypto TA, baby. So Crypto TA is in the house. Crypto Airborne is scaring people away from the feed with the rash. Let's just take a peek at Celer quick. I haven't really spent that much time on Celer, but we can see that this thing has just been rampaging since July. So let's look at this. What do we have here? Well, first and foremost, I'm thinking we might have some Elliott wave theory to the upside. We might see price action kind of trade sideways back towards the cloud. And I do think at that time, price action is going to have to make a decision whether to travel through the cloud and retrace or bounce up and go higher. So if you had to ask me, I would say anytime by, right around October 19th to October 27th, once we see price action start getting close to this cloud, I would suspect volatility would increase again. And we can kind of see what happens, especially in the last previous few run-ups. Price action comes in towards the cloud, drops off. Here we can see an example of price action coming in towards the cloud and trying to rebound off of it, but it just could not hold. So I'm just kind of curious to see what kind of retracements this experienced here. So this thing, wow, retraced 77% there. What a roller coaster ride. 80% there. So if this happens, let's just throw this up and say, you know, what's 75%? So maybe down to the 15-cent level. I know crypto TA is still here. So if you know of anything that you're seeing with Celer, let me know. But let's look at this thing on a weekly chart. I'm interested in seeing what this thing is doing. Man, goodness. Yeah, so, man, you can definitely see how once we start getting farther away from the cloud, you know, the farther away we get, the higher chances that a retracement is near. So with that said, on the weekly chart, you know, we can kind of see this flagpole is somewhat of a pennant. Let's see what this looks like. I mean, man, it wouldn't surprise me to see this thing start ripping to the upside, maybe come down and hit this 200 moving average and bounce again. I think this is a good coin for the most part. Like I said, check out Crypto TA, though. He is kind of got this thing on lockdown. Let's see here. Anybody else got anything? We got 18 people in the chat watching. How long is this? How long have I been live? Oh my God. I was planning on hopping in here for like 35 minutes. So I'll do like two more. Let's do Voyager token. So 12 cents, then 10 cents, strongest support level. Okay, that's kind of what I was gathering too, was somewhere right in there. But with that said, yeah, you could definitely see we're right around this 10 cent level, 12 cent level. Yeah, definitely get some support in there. Let's look at Voyager token quick. EGX. And this has really been an unfortunate, pattern, or, you know, price action for all the VGX holders. I mean, you talk about a passionate group of people, and I hate to see everybody kind of getting slammed like this. But first and foremost on the daily, and this wick, I do believe somebody in a previous video pointed out that this is a trading view error wick, and I highly suspect this. I mean, I don't think the price dropped from $3.63 down to $1 and then back up to $3 within a day. But with that said, we can see that. Okay. Oh, Trade the Chain has the charts that show prior VGX swap. Okay. That's awesome. And so what we can see here is this Elliott wave theory to the downside. I do think that it is likely we may see Voyager token come down. And I've been saying this in the last few videos I did on Voyager, that, you know, we might see this $2 Voyager token. Let's look at this on a, let's see here. Yeah, I thought it was a flash crash too. Can you apply a stock to flow model with CKB to predict pricing over time? I can't at this time, but that's an interesting proposal. We'll have to look and see if that's even possible. I'm sure we could, which would be awesome. I think everybody likes that stock to flow ratio. I'm okay with it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do think that it can be kind of deceptive, uh, especially for people that may not have a good bead on trading technical patterns and things like that. So I do think that right now, everything is indicating a falling wedge, which in the grand scheme of things is bullish. We are looking to see this price action really kind of break to the upside. And we can see that right now let me just pull this up on the 1 hour chart. I mean, we got a death cross going. So we saw price action come right through the 50 and 200. Now we are seeing the 50 moving average cross the 200. This death cross means absolutely nothing on the 1 hour chart, but you can see the results of the last death cross that occurred, which was right back here, and it did bleed us out pretty bad after that. So let's go. I'm just curious here to see. I would say if I had to guess on where Voyager token might end up from here, it would be $1.90. And we may see something like that down here, maybe come mid-October. And folks, this really pains me to say this. I'm not trying to play anybody's emotions here or anything like that. But Voyager token, in the last few weeks has implemented a significant program within where they hand out VLP rewards twice a month. So, that could be changing the ecosystem of VGX, to say the least. Now, I am kind of I'm just not seeing the neckline here for this. I was going to suggest possibly an inverse head and shoulders, but it is possible with a neckline like that, I guess. This could be setting up for something like that, but I would say that for now, be careful. We need to see Voyager token really trading above this $2.40 level for an extended period of time, if not possibly down to $1.91. I'll set some buy orders at that level as long as the market's healthy. But at that time, we will have a multi-month falling wedge, which could produce some significant upside. This is just my opinion, folks. So Voyager token is a tough trade right now, especially with limited data on TradingView, but I wouldn't be opposed to checking out, what was it, Trade the Chain, or whoever said something in the comments here. Let's see here. Anything else, folks, before I pull the plug on this live stream? Anything else? I think that I will go ahead and possibly wrap this up. Ocean? Okay, Ocean. Sunshine, okay. I remember you asking about this before. Okay, I forget. So Ocean, we have looked at Ocean before, and I think that I was bearish on Ocean the last time we were talking about it, I think. But just kind of looking at this, folks, give me a second to just peep this. Right now, this is an incredible opportunity for Ocean to break through this cloud on the daily chart. And if it does that, not only will we lure this 50 moving average up into some sort of golden cross, that could set the precedent to go higher. Let's look at this. Let's just throw up a little Fibonacci here. I would say that, oh man, I would say that if you see Ocean trending to the upside, this thing is likely to move around, up to at least $1.35. up to $2.43 if this thing really starts banging. But let's look at the downside possibilities on this as well. You know, man, I'd say if you see this thing trading lower than 66 cents, that you may be in for a retest of this 31-cent level. And at that point in time, we may be seeing some sort of descending triangle, which might play out into like next year. And we may see price kind of bounce within this. Nobody knows. It looks like there's some incredible support all the way back to August of 20, right at this 30-cent level. That's just something that you don't see. There are some whales involved with this that are holding this price tag up, because Ocean, to my knowledge, is not the most discussed crypto out there. So, I mean, with that said, I mean, damn, it could really go either way. Let me just do something here. Bear with me 1 second, folks. And so by throwing up this little pitchfork, you can see that how Ocean really needs to trade upwards and break about 90 cents, 80 cents, depending on the time frame. So if we can see Ocean break, 90 cents within the next few days, like 3 to 5 to 6 days, we might be trading within this channel, and we might be retesting this $1.14 cent level a lot sooner than people think. Or we could be kind of filling out a nice ascending triangle that goes into November to move to the upside. And this would be the most ideal situation, in my own opinion. But all this is contingent on Bitcoin, and all this is contingent on a healthy market. So that is something to think about. If you see this thing trading any lower than 60 cents, you may want to brace for lower prices. So with that said, another fib sliver. Yeah. The term was coined by Six Fig Stock Trader in all his years of professional stock trading. So how about that? But I think we're going to wrap this up. Crypto TA, great to see you in here, bud. And like I said, Celer, check him out. He is a beast on Celer. So also check out Crypto Airborne's channel. He dropped a great video tonight on StormX. He's very bullish on StormX, and so he might have some good insight into StormX with his most interesting, his latest blah 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 blah. It's late, folks. I'm on 4 hours of sleep. His latest video. Oh man, I tell you what. I came on here thinking I was going to do a half-hour live stream, and it's an hour and a half. So I'm not going to waste anybody else's time, but we will drop a CKB video tomorrow. It's going to be one of the most glorious videos that you guys are ever going to see. And then we will also discuss, we will also be discussing some NFT stuff. And I don't know if you guys hanging around want to check this out. And let me see. I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, cool. It looks like the live stream is just a hair delayed. But like I said, guys, check out Joshy Yates. He's got some sick NFTs. And these are all hand-drawn by him on a tablet or something. He's been talking to me about this project for a while now, and he was kind enough to gift me this NFT. And to be honest with you guys, I kind of like it so much that I may in fact try to get this thing printed just to put up on my office wall. But I do think that these are going to be huge. He's got like 12 of these, and he's got 10 NFTs per card, and I mean they're pretty sick. It's just, if you appreciate art, this is way cool. And actually, here's some of his other work. He's got it up here. Okay, so he's got 10 for each of these. I know that this one is a large scale NFT that he's building out, and you can see how big this thing is. But he will be revealing the prices and stuff like that. I need to talk to him, but we are going to check out some of these things on a grander scale shortly when I do my video on NFTs. So here it is. This is the one that I got. The demon wears a ram's head and seeks to possess powerless souls and empower them with the skill of dark magic. I mean, this is great. So there's some meaning and stuff like that to these NFTs. And I also did pick up one of these CK punks, and I'm going to be doing a video on this as well. And yes, I paid $100 for this CK punk. And really, for me, was that even though this is completely a knockoff of the crypto punks, it is a slap in the face to the crypto punks and everything ETH. It's saying, hey, look at this. We designed the exact same thing with 1/1,000,000th of a transaction fee that ETH has. In that there are 100 of these CK punks out there. And this is one of the first NFTs that really I kind of noticed out there, people talking about. And I'm sure there was some promotion behind this, but it caught my attention. And I do think that this line could be controversial in the future. And so I bought it. This one, the way they do it was they handcraft these. Each one is different. Some are rare, some are very rare. I was told that I was given a rare one, but they kind of give these out at random. So that was cool to see. With that said, folks, we're going to be talking NFTs in a video coming up on the Nervous Network. And like I had mentioned in the earlier video I did today, it was crazy. The gas fee was like $1. There's like a penny. It was so insane how low it was. But with that said, big shout out. Oh, this isn't Silver Bullet anymore, but his name is something else now. But Nervous Network was able to give me one of their NFTs when they first came out. So I thought that was pretty sweet. Some dude took a picture of his four-wheeler and sent me it. That was pretty cool. One thing I do want to talk to you guys quick about Nervous Network is that, let's see here, I'm just looking at some of these comments here because I kind of forgot about them. Okay, Crypto TA says, I'm going to watch a StormX vid right now. Make sure you don't catch a rash. And let's see, Marco says, I've never been so bullish on Nervous Network as I am recently. Yeah, me too, dude. Like, I'm the same way. People are noticing it. One thing with Nervous Network that I think a lot of people don't understand is that once people start building NFTs on Nervous Network, I mean, just Google how many NFTs are on OpenSea right now. Millions. And so the thing is that if we know for a fact that every single NFT requires 200 CKB. You need 200 CKB for an NFT. So, you start talking over a period of, 3 to 5 years, how many NFTs get minted with CKB and occupy that CKB. Let's just say it's 20 million. Well, we have to do 20 million NFTs times 200. And that is the equivalent of 4 billion CKB just locked up in NFTs. And this is a very conservative amount. I mean, 20 million NFTs on Nervous Network in a 3 to 5 year period, that's super low to me. I think that we are going to see this really take off. But you have to imagine that once Nervous Network data, CKB is a data cell, each CKB, that we will start seeing these price tags of CKB rise significantly, because we will be all these platforms will be out there occupying CKB similar to real estate. And the fact that each program that a developer builds, certain amount of CKB are allocated per user. So if we get a hit DApp on the Nervous Network, well, let's say we get 100,000 members. Well, there's going to be some sort of ratio of CKB per member, and we will see lots of real estate be taken up. And so this is kind of why I've been taking my time on this whole NFT video that I'm building. I want to do it right. I want to explain things right, but I do think that I am onto something. But yeah, other than that, if you want to see all the crypto or the CK punks that were minted, just check out Hunter X Labs. You can see my crypto punk, CK punk is right here. But with that said, folks, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I am mumbling on. But I do hope that you guys are excited for the what I have in store for this whole NFT, and explaining how how CKB is really going to be used up rapidly. I know CKB can be used up on layer 1, but they can issue an infinite amount on layer 2. But all the NFTs, all the important works are going to be stored on layer 1 of Nervous Network. So that makes me feel really good. So by the way, check out my Nervous, MY, just go hashtag MY Nervous, and that is Josh Yates Twitter handle, and I do believe that will be associated with his NFTs and stuff like that. We will go into how to ordering some of these, how to order some of these NFTs if you're interested in it in a later video as well. So at this point in time, I'm going to check the chat one more time. Okay, so we got some bitches that are tripping in the chat for sure. So that is for sure. Bitches are tripping in the chat. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this one right now. So we'll see you guys on the next video. We'll drop it like it's hot tomorrow, and we will see you guys then. Big shout out to all my Patreons as well. If you're interested, folks, in becoming a Patreon, it's $3 a month. And you get your name, YouTube channel name, business name on a banner at the end of my videos. So link is in the description. So we'll see you guys later.